Welcome back to McPhee Ford. Today we're doing a side-by-side comparison of the 2022 versus 2023 Ford Super Duty. Of course, there's a lot of new information on the 2023 Super Duty, but we wanted to show you in person, side-by-side, comparing a 2022 versus a 2023 Super Duty. And we have two identical trucks here. They are both regular cab with the 8-foot box, and they're also both finished in Oxford white. Now we're going to first start with the exterior differences that Ford changed for 23. So we'll take a look at the 23 Super Duty here on the right side, and then on the left side we have the 22. Again, both finished in Oxford white, both regular cab with the 8-foot box, so they are very similar specifications. But we'll take a look at the front end of the 23 Super Duty here. Now they are both XLT models, so we do have a little bit of chrome going on in the front end here. So we have chrome front bumper with the chrome grille, which is unchanged for 23. Now the grille design and the bumper design has been changed. Ford did change the grille here. We also have fog lights on this particular XLT. Of course, you could option in fog lights, but on the XLT is actually now standard for 23. We also have the front tow hooks down here, nice heavy duty tow hooks, and of course the very large air dam as well, just to help increase the fuel economy. We also have the Super Duty badge on the hood as well. Now Ford did redesign the hood, just give it a little bit more of an aerodynamic design. It's a little bit less boxy compared to the 22 model. You can kind of see the differences between them here. In terms of the headlight design for both of these trucks here, again, just a little bit less boxy than the 22 model. That previous generation, the headlight really does stretch to the outside of the fender here, whereas on the 22 you can see it'll have a little bit more of a fender flare on the side. And if you take a look at the wheel design for both of these trucks here, this is the wheel design for the XLT. Of course, there's a bunch of other wheel designs that are that were offered for 2022, but this is the XLT wheel. And if we take a look at the 23, this is the updated design of this wheel here. So Ford did change a little bit, but it's still an aluminum wheel. It's an 18-inch wrapped in a LT 275/70 tire. And if we move along the side of both of these Super Duties, you can see the mirror height is very much unchanged. They haven't gotten much bigger or wider. The dimensions are very, very similar, but something that has changed are the fender vents here. So previously we did have a nice little chrome accent here with the F350, and again, this was an XLT. But we take a look at the 23 model, that's much larger, it does span quite a lot of the fender there, and we actually do have functional heat vents, heat extractors here on the side, so that's nice to see, but still have the F350 and the XLT up top. And of course, standard with Super Duty are the tow mirrors. We do have the tow mirror. You can also option in the power scope option, which is a full power operation, but if you come around to the other side here, so it's a dual convex, so we have the sort of fisheye lens there on the bottom, and this one has the blind spot monitoring on the 22, but of course you can option that on the 23 as well. But moving along to the side here, you can kind of look at the design of the door. So we do have a little bit of a dip here in the 23 model that kind of dips down to the fender, whereas the 22 is completely straight there, and that also falls along to the side of the bed as well. We also have some running boards, which is also an option on the XLT model, which is definitely a nice upgrade to help you get in a little bit. Now this particular 22 has the Power Stroke engine, whereas this 23 actually has the gas 7.3 liter. So you don't get a badge here, but of course if you have the Power Stroke engine, you would get that 6.7 liter badge there on the side. And if we keep moving along the side of both of these trucks, one of the main differences with the bed is actually the bed side step, which is actually a standard feature across all 23 Super Duties, whereas the 22 model didn't offer that at all. So that's a brand new feature that Ford offered. Also, another step is actually the bumper step. So we actually have a bumper step right here, which kind of helps you get in a little bit easier, whereas the 22 was not offered. Now in terms of the chassis and the frame design, most of it has remained unchanged, but Ford did modernize it just a little bit, just to kind of keep it updated. But again, most of it has remained unchanged. Now we'll take a look at the taillight design here on both of these trucks. Again, this one on the right side is the 22, left side is the 23 brand new model. So we'll take a look at the taillights. Just kind of changed them up a little bit, sort of made them a little bit more modern. We have a nice hidden Super Duty badge there in the chrome part there, but these ones are halogen because this is an XLT, so it's not a very high-end trim level, but of course LEDs are optional. And again, there's the bumper step here in the corner of the 23 model, which is standard again across the board, but they both do have chrome rear bumpers, again because they are XLTs, so we do have a little bit of a spruced up exterior with that particular model. But we still have the Super Duty stamping there in the tailgate. Ford did change it up just a little bit. It's a little bit more of a cleaner design on the 23, much more flat, whereas the 22, it was sort of concaved a little bit there. And of course, being a Super Duty, we do have a massive Class 5 hitch receiver. It's rated for upwards of 20,000 or more pounds, so huge rating. And again, that's standard for 23 Super Duty. But we'll pop the tailgates on both of these trucks here. So this 22 has a drop-in liner. Of course, you could put whatever you want in here, spray in, drop in, or no bed liner at all. This one has a drop-in. We also have the box link system up there in the corner. And to move along to the 23 here, we do have actually a nice little measurement here on the end of the tailgate. Now this is not the work surface like you would see on an F-150. This is just a little bit of a measurement that Ford puts on the end here. So you can use this to, cut some wood. You can use this as a measurement tool. Cool little feature right there. This one happens to have a spray and bed liner, but of course you can option in whatever one you want. And we still do have the box link system in all of the corners. Now, something that is new for 23 Super Duty is actually the 2 kilowatt Pro Power on board system. This is a design borrowed from the F-150, but it's now available for 23 Super Duty, not available for 22. Now we'll take a look under the hood of both of these Super Duties here. Now our 23 tester has the 7.3 liter gas engine. This engine has remained mostly unchanged for 23, but there are a bunch of changes to some of the other engines, including the Power Stroke diesels. So we actually have a new diesel engine, which is the high output version of this 6.7 liter Power Stroke, which makes 500 horsepower and a whopping 1,200 foot-pounds of torque. Now, of course, those numbers are class leading, and it also makes the Super Duty capable of towing up to 40,000 pounds, which is an enormous number, and of course is also class leading, and also the 8,000 pound payload capacity. We also have one new gas engine, which actually replaces the 6.2 liter gas that Ford's been using for quite some time, and that is the new 6.8 liter gas. So that one engine is brand new for 23. These engines are all mated to the 10-speed automatic transmission. Although the diesel engines do have higher ratings for the transmissions, it's all the same 10-speed automatic. Now we'll take a look into the interiors of both of these trucks. Now the 22 was based off of the 13th generation F-150, which started in 2015. So this design is a little bit outdated now, but of course we have the new 23s, which is actually based off of the new 14th generation F-150. So it's a bit more of a modern design. But we'll take a look into the interior here of this 22. So we do have the medium earth gray seat, which is actually standard for most models, up to a Lariat, which of course you would get leather, but this is a nice heavy duty cloth material, and we have the bench seat configuration. Now if we take a look into the interior of the new 23 Super Duty, we see we do have a much different seat design here. Again, this is borrowed from the new F-150. This is the dark slate cloth, nice looking design, very comfortable. This one is power operated. And if you take a look at the door panel here, again, just more nicer materials, a nice sort of soft touch here on the door. Of course, all your power controls up top and lots of storage. And if we hop inside here, now the keys are actually completely unchanged. The keys have remained unchanged for the new Super Duty. Still have the sticking key, although the ignition is actually in a new spot. Which is again borrowed from F-150, but it's actually right here in the front of this console. Now the steering wheel is borrowed again from the F-150, as is most of the design of the interior. The dash is actually different though, so Ford did make this nice line that kind of goes across and makes this more of a driver-oriented vehicle, whereas the F-150 actually splits it right here to kind of separate the center stack here. This is a more driver-oriented design. But a nice change we have is the gauge cluster. So this is actually the base model gauge cluster, which is nice because we actually still get a nice 4-inch display. But if we get a higher up model like a Lariat, you would actually get a fully digital screen like the F-150 has, which is a nice new change. But the overall design of the steering wheel, again, very similar to F-150. We have your cruise control on the left-hand side with your controls for that screen on the right. And this center stack here in the middle, again, very similar to F-150. You have your climate control down here, Sync 3 display. Of course, you can option in the larger 12-inch, but this is the base model screen now. And of course, we do have 4-wheel drive down here. Now, if we hop into the 22 model, we have our key, which again has remained unchanged, has the switchblade function, but again, the ignition is actually moved to a new spot. Now again, this general design of the interior has been replaced now from the 13th to the now 14th generation F-150. So it's a bit of an outdated design now, but of course we have the new 23 right over there. So you can see here we do have the 8-inch screen, just like that 23 right over there. We have the climate control down here at the bottom. We also have 4-wheel drive and of course a trailer brake controller. 4-wheel drive settings have changed slightly. Ford uses the push button design just like the F-150, whereas this one actually is a twist dial. Let me take a look in the gauge cluster here. Now this is the base model screen, which has been since redesigned just to make it a little bit more easier to use, but this gauge cluster design has now been replaced with the new one. And again, the steering wheel design is a little bit of an older style. Again, has been replaced now. We have your cruise control on the left and also the volume and audio on the right. But I'll do a quick pan of the 22 model. And now the 23. Now there's a bunch of different driver assistance features and towing features and safety features that are now available for 23 Super Duty. If I were to make a video on that, this would be an hour long. I want to try to keep this short and concise, but we're going to hop into one last thing, and that is the pricing. So this window sticker here is for the 2022 Super Duty, which we can see right up there. And again, this is an F350 with the diesel engine. Now, the diesel engine costs $10,575 for 2022. And here's some of the options that this particular one has. Just a couple of them, which is in price to $77,565. All of these prices are in Canadian dollars, so just keep that in mind. Maybe a little bit of a higher price than you would see in the States, but this is what this truck here is in Canada. Now if we take a look at the window sticker for the 23 Super Duty, which you can see right up top, again with that 7.3 gas. The 7.3 is actually a no-cost option, so you actually don't get charged for it, which is definitely nice. But this one has, again, just a couple of options, which brings this one to $76,000, almost $76,000 exactly. So you can kind of get an idea. Without the diesel engine, this truck is almost the same price as the 22. So you do have a quite significant price increase from 22 to 23. But that'll pretty much do it for this video. I want to try to keep this short and concise as possible, just to make it as easy to understand as possible. Now, if you're interested in a 23 Super Duty, you can give us a call or visit us at mcpheeford.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.